Berlin, a city full of contrasts that connects history and innovation in a fascinating way. But what really makes this city so unique? What's behind the world-famous landmarks? In this video, you will discover the answers to these and many more questions. We'll take you to Berlin's most famous sites and tell you the stories that aren't in every guidebook. Ready to dive into the history and secrets of Berlin? Then join us on this journey of discovery. The Brandenburg Gate, the landmark of Berlin. But did you know that it was originally built as a city gate to mark the entrance to the city? Commissioned in the 18th century by King Frederick William II, it later became a symbol of German division and reunification. The imposing quadriga on the gate represents the goddess of victory, which speaks of the Prussian victories. But the true symbolic meaning of the gate is shown not only in its architecture, but also in its history as a sign of freedom and unity. The Reichstag, a building full of political symbolism. It not only witnessed important historical moments, like the fire of 1933, which led to the establishment of the dictatorship, but also a symbol of democracy after reunification. But why did the glass dome become the building's trademark after the reunification? It stands for transparency and openness, two principles that play a major role in today's German politics. Looking down on Berlin from above, you realize how deeply rooted this message is. The Berlin Palace, a place that reflects the history of Prussia and the German Empire. It was not only the center of power for the monarchs, but also the scene of important political events. The Lustgarten was once the magnificent garden of the royal family, but was leveled by the Nazis in the 20th century and used for mass rallies. Today, the garden is a beautiful place of tranquility and invites you to relax after a visit to Museum Island, while the palace was brought back to life as the Humboldt Forum in 2020. The Berlin Cathedral is not only the largest church in the city, but also an impressive example of Baroque architecture. But the question remains, why was it almost completely destroyed after the Second World War, only to be rebuilt later? The cathedral has not only a religious significance, but also a political one. The coronation of the first emperor of the German Empire took place here. Today, the Berlin Cathedral is a symbol of the city's reconstruction and reunification, both physically and spiritually. The East Side Gallery, a truly unique work of art and at the same time a memorial to the German division. But what exactly makes this section of the Berlin Wall a world-famous work of art? Artists from all over the world immortalized their visions of freedom, hope, and reunification here. But there's much more behind the colorful graffiti, a strong message of freedom and peace that goes beyond the fall of the wall. The Tiergarten is Berlin's largest park and a popular retreat for many Berliners. But what does this park have to do with the history of Prussia? Originally a hunting ground for the royal family, it is today a popular place for walks and recreation. In the heart of the park stands Bellevue Palace, the residence of the German president. But how did this building, originally built for the nobility in the 18th century, become the political center of the German head of state? After the Second World War and the transformation of Berlin into the capital of the Federal Republic of Germany, Bellevue Palace became the residence of the federal president, and today it represents democracy and political change in Germany. The historical connection between the monarchy and today's republican form of government is particularly noticeable when you stand in front of the building. Museum Island is not only a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but also a true treasure trove of history. But what exactly makes this island such a special place? Here you will find not only the famous Pergamon Museum, but also many other institutions that house collections from antiquity to the modern era. Did you know that the Ishtar Gate from Babylon is exhibited here? It is one of the most impressive pieces of ancient art, documenting the rich cultural exchange between the ancient empires of the Orient and Europe. Berlin is a city where history meets modern dynamism, and you can see that on every corner. From the symbolic landmarks to lesser-known places that often have the most exciting stories to tell. In this video, we've only discovered a small part of what Berlin has to offer. If you take your time, you'll find that this city is more than just a tourist destination. It's a living part of history that leaves its mark on every new generation.